Welcome to the Chief of Cybersecurity podcast, where we discuss relevant information surrounding protecting networks, devices, and data from unauthorized access or criminal use from hackers. Also, industry best practices and the cybersecurity workforce. Made possible by CMIS. Learn more at cmis.net. For a list of publications, visit DewayneHart.com.
All right. Rich Casanova here back with Dewayne Hart, the man of the hour once again. And if you dialed into his website, been in his ecosystem, you know the big news. Dude, congratulations at the top of the hour here. You have your brand new book is just hit the marketplace. How excited are you, my man?
I am equally excited because this book is a masterpiece. And the reason I wrote the book was to transition the cybersecurity mindset to a larger scale. But, the larger scale is about leadership, all right? Because leaders are now held accountable for cybersecurity because there's a buzzword, AI, cyber, and leadership. So I wanted to make sure that I bring some new thoughts and some new vision into the cybersecurity domain so that every genre of personnel that is interested in technology can understand what its threat landscape is headed.
And I just want to say congratulations on behalf of the team here, myself and everyone at Global Podcast Studios on the release of your new book. I know it was an amazing journey alongside you with your first book that was published. And then, of course, now you've just blown up into the cybersecurity rock star. I mean, your keynote on stages, you've authored your second book, of course, your podcast, you have a YouTube channel. I don't know, you must be, I don't know how many hours a day you spend on this, but you're definitely crushing it. And so the title of the book, which I am very excited and honored to have an autographed copy here right in front of me, Cybersecurity Leadership. And the subtitle to me is very operative. It's how to develop a successful mentality. And here's the operative word, and win. Because you can have a lot of strategies and ideas and concepts, and but the end game is to win at this game of those people that, in your business or whatever capacity role that you play within your organization, there are nefarious characters out there that are, conniving and planning some type of attack. And it's all about leadership, right? So we talked about it before we started recording. The premise is, not just staying ahead of the curve, but I love one of your statements in the book that says, these cyber threats, you've got to be not just proactive, but you've got to have an AI, or cybersecurity mindset, but also you need to have the leadership in place that you can act on these and, be not only proactive, but when something happens, have a game plan. And that all comes down to leadership. Without that, like you said, you don't have time to form a committee because we're talking warp speed when we're talking about cybersecurity threats. Yes or yes, sir?
Yes, because the threat landscape has changed over the past couple of years. I've always liked to understand and to make sure my audience do understand the big picture concept, because this is what we're up against in this AI cyber war. Because the big picture concept states, how can we take AI cybersecurity leadership and the threat landscape and make them win? Because if you're a leader, you can win. But you have to understand the big picture concept, and you have to understand the AI cyber war, because it is a war because we are fighting against threat actors. And I've always liked to use the word war because cyber warfare and combat warfare are friends. And I am a Navy veteran, so I understand the architect of warfare and how do you really take warfare and ingest that into AI cyber. And it follows the same concept because we have to stay ahead of the threat actors. And the only way we're going to stay ahead of the threat actors is to be agile and to be smart and to move at a rapid pace, because AI itself moves at a rapid pace, because AI takes on the behavior patterns of humans, but it magnifies speed by 10 times, because a human can sit at a computer and analyze data. But a human cannot
Right.
analyze 1 million data rows, but you can have AI to supplement that form of work. And it makes it increasingly harder to find threat actors. But at the same time, if you can have an AI platform that can analyze 1 million data rows, then it helps your cybersecurity program out.
Absolutely say 100% because we know that these, um, actors are using AI to their advantage, planning these threats. So you've got to use this tool as well. So we're going to do a deep dive into this episode one about why AI is reshaping cyber leaders. But let's rewind for a second. So give us a big picture view of this book. Your mission behind the book, why you wrote it, and the audience this is for, and kind of your goals, or talk in terms of also a reader, the expectations from readers
Okay.
viewpoint.
Okay, then. So you think of the book itself. So there's 4 different parts of the book. And I always look at the book as a progressive thinking model. And I use that term because there are 4 stages. The first stage is always talking about the purpose. What is the purpose of
Right.
being a cybersecurity leader? And so the second stage is breaking down cybersecurity and explaining all the requirements that come along with being a cybersecurity leader. And then the third stage is focusing on the leader themselves and understand how do you take your brand and how do you ingest that into the cybersecurity domain and actually become successful at making decisions, because that's the end state, because you have to make great decisions. And then the last section is focused on activating cybersecurity leadership. Once you understand the 3 stages, and once you put those 3 stages into practice, what is the makeup? What is the picture? What should you really be doing on a daily basis in order to stay above water? Because that's your job as a cybersecurity leader, is to take that environment and to keep it above water. And when it's not above water, it sinks. And that gives threat actors the advantage. So when I was writing the book, I actually went through several steps and to try to figure out what is it that I really wanted to talk about. And I thought about the cybersecurity mindset, which was my first book I had written. And I know that the cybersecurity mindset was based on roadmap in cybersecurity and having readers to understand the operational aspects of cybersecurity itself. But the cybersecurity leadership wanted to expand upon that and to take it to the next level. And see, the next level has 2 different parts to itself. One is leadership has to be a risk manager. And secondly, leadership has to understand how to treat cybersecurity as a business solution. Or if you're involved with the government, you actually have to treat cybersecurity as a national defense solution. And that is the premises of the book from the big picture concept. How do you take cybersecurity and pivot it as a business solution? When you achieve that goal, that's when your cybersecurity teams are not working in silos. This is when your brand is operating at 100%. This is when the executive groups trust you. This is when you walk into a boardroom and you state, I need $20 million to upscale my cybersecurity program. And the board members say, here goes your $20 million. But what if your brand is
Right.
failing? And when you walk out of the boardroom, they may say, you know what? I don't know if we trust that guy or not, because he's not building this program. We don't even know what cybersecurity means, but you're the mediator. You are the security representative. You're supposed to sell cybersecurity to the executive group. And if you're not selling it through your brand, being cyber focused, having a customer mindset, or better yet, wearing that hacker's hat, you may have problems.
Yeah, I mean, because that's your responsibility. I mean, you have a duty. You talked about your Navy experience, and there's a duty that that you're given and a responsibility. And if you drop the ball, in retrospect, you did a disservice to your organization. So a quick recap, and then I've got a question I'd like you to address. So again, it's amazing the way you have this laid out in these stages. So stage one is all about purpose. Stage two, we're going to do a deep dive into the journey. Stage three is the direction within your organization. How do you communicate and, the leadership approach again, and navigating those waters. And then finally, stage four is all about leadership, which is really like the foundation. This has always been a mantra of yours throughout your experience in this industry with your business as you run in the cybersecurity space. So this question, I want to pop this question to you about. So what happens to your organization's resilience when I like this phrase you say, the human in the loop becomes the slowest link or the weakest link in your defense chain? I mean, how do you answer that?
Well, we have to understand that when we look at the threat landscape, there are many moving parts. People are the laborers. People are the ones that make the decision. So you have different technologies and tools there, but the technology and tools comes with a standard. Because if I design a application to work based on certain specifications, then it's going to do that. But humans are very flexible. Humans have options. It's to follow standards or not to follow standards. And if they don't, are they held accountable? So when we think about humans being the weakest link, so we have to look at leadership, because AI itself cannot 100% replace leadership. So we have to have people with the mindset and the understanding of the threat landscape and how this AI cyber war is operating so that they can make great decisions. And they can become a weakest link when they don't understand the threat landscape, or if their priorities have shifted away from what it means to be a cybersecurity leader, right? So when we think about people and humans, it goes down to the mindset of a threat actor too, because a threat actor is saying, what is the weakest link? A person. This is the first gateway to invade an enterprise. Because if you don't have a hacker's mindset, then what you just really did was giving your environment away. You, as in the leader, and leaders that do not have that hacker's mindset are failing their cybersecurity teams. Because as I stated before, you are the security representative. You are the mediator. You are the driver. It's kind of like a ship, right? Because see, you have a captain of a ship. He is the one that drives the ship. He is the one that stirs the ship. But what if he doesn't know how to stir that ship? So you're going to be lost at sea. So I always like to use that concept.
Yeah. I love that premise. I was reading in your first chapter of the book about how you break down the word visually of leadership, about its lead and leader and then the ship.
Yes.
And I'm a visual guy, so I love that picture that you portray about you are driving the ship, right? And so not only you got to keep it afloat, but you've got to win at this game of cyber security, so to speak. So, and also what I love is your the way you provide these actionable insights, these real world examples, and leadership strategies. So. Also in your book, talk to me about this interesting point you made in your book, talking about from gatekeeper to enabler, moving from know to how to embrace AI tools safely. Expound on that a little bit.
Okay, then. See, as the gatekeeper, you're just standing there with your cape on. All right. See, that's all you're doing. Okay. So you're being the guardian, but the enabler is the one that is making change. That is the person that has that vision. That is the person that understands the AI cyber threat landscape and able to adjust and able to make changes. But if you're just a gatekeeper, then you're just a body in place. So you have to be more actionable than you were about 20 years ago, right? Because it's more needed of leaders today when it comes to cybersecurity. Because there's an argument that goes around and states, what is the true reason of having a CISO? Because are they truly board members? Because board members get paid, right? Or is it just that they're just a body in place? So So to be an enabler, then you have to transition yourself as a business asset. And I talk about this throughout the whole book because a lot of times with these cybersecurity leaders, when they walk into a boardroom or pretty much an executive meeting, they always treat it as someone that there to just answer technical questions. But you're much more valuable than that because you are the driver for cybersecurity. So you have to be a decision maker. And if you're a decision maker, then that's when you enable that environment to move to the next level. Also, too, I want to put out to all the listeners that if you go to my website, I just rebranded that website. Totally rebranded the website with books, podcasts, links, and more actionable information about where is it that Dewayne headed in the cyber threat landscape, right? And I would tell that to all my readers. But going on back to your question there, leaders themselves are required to do more today than they did 15 or 20 years ago because, the gatekeeper is just the person there with the key. Guess what? You got the respect for having the key. But now it's time to take action and it's time to make change because in this threat landscape, it changes every day. Companies change every day. If you think about the level of cyber attacks that are occurring on a rapidly every day, you can actually be the gatekeeper. But if you're not moving that environment to stay safe, guess what? Eventually, someone's going to break past the gate. So you have to find ways to keep cybersecurity above water and try to be the enabler. Because when I look at the enabler, I'm saying that you are the one that motivates everybody else to keep moving.
Right. It's your website is super impressive. Your new book, you've been a very busy guy. So, and I'm looking forward to this new season of your podcast and releasing this first episode today. So we've got a few more minutes left. So I want to ask you another question. And then, of course, whatever announcements you want to share with their readers and the listeners as well. So talk to us about this premise of the literacy mandate.
Can you repeat your last now? What did you say now, Rich?
Oh, I'll just repeat. So yeah, your website is super impressive. Your book is amazing. You've been a very busy guy this year. You're wasting no time kicking off the new year, and look forward to what you have up your sleeve in the upcoming months here. But as we kind of start to wind down this episode, I want to ask this other point, and then of course you can address any other information you want to share with the audience about what's going on in your world. But talk to us about the literacy mandate, about executives needing a functional fluency in terms of AI risk.
Oh yes, because knowledge is very powerful. So when we think about AI and as a leadership person, so you have to think about the governance model because part of that governance model is that you have to be literate on innovation. So you have to be literate on the users that are using these AI platforms, and you have to be knowledgeable of the cybersecurity landscape as well. And see, all of that is part of the governance framework as a leader, because the AI platforms are changing on a rapid basis. There's innovation that is going on because you have to understand how far do you want to upscale your technology environment. So you have to understand how is it that you want to use AI? Where can you win when you place AI in your enterprise? So as someone is reading through the book, I always tell readers to think about their position, all right? What are my risk factors and how does AI affect my risk factors? What if I implement AI? Is it doing me a service or is it doing me a harm? What are threat actors doing to use AI? Because AI is a dual sword. So as a leader, you always have to think about the dual sword concept of AI. And one of my first Forbes articles that I wrote, it actually talked about the dual relationship of AI and cybersecurity. And I emphasized the fact that yes, we do have AI, but at the same time, does AI hurt us or does AI cause harm? So we really have to strategize on that as a leader and figure out where you want to place AI, because just because AI is being utilized, that doesn't mean that you need to maximize your entire environment at a 100% of AI, because maybe you need to go hybrid, right? Partly manual and partly automation. Because if you full scale AI, then do you have the defenses in place to actually maintain your enterprise? Because AI itself comes with some risk factors. So you have to understand how to scale AI, and all that goes into literacy and understanding the threat landscape, understanding business philosophies, and also understanding how AI cyber works together as one. And if you can draw that picture, and if you can understand holistic defense and the big picture concept of how all of the technologies, application tools, people, processes, and business is all supposed to work as one, well, you're going to be successful and you will stay ahead in this AI cyber war.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's definitely a tricky balance between automation and the manual application. But if you have the right leadership team in place to strike this balance, then you're going to sleep well at night and you're going to feel secure within your organization, your job, and your department and so forth. So before we wind things down, I'm going to get ready to close things out for this first episode. I don't know if there's anything else that we missed you wanted to talk about briefly before our next podcast episode.
Oh, yes. I kind of calmly go through LinkedIn and I see a lot of posts about cybersecurity and AI. And I see so many posts that talk about leadership. And then I think, and I say to myself, it sounds like everybody's been reading my book. Now, why would I make that statement? Because that's an evaluator based on what the technology landscape needs. And I feel that I have fully addressed what the technology landscape needs when it comes to cybersecurity leadership. So as an audience, go out there and grab your copy, tune in to LinkedIn, and let's keep this train moving.
Absolutely. So Dewayne, it was a pleasure having you back in the studio. It's been a minute, so looking forward to upcoming episodes here. And congratulations once again on your book, Cybersecurity Leadership, How to Develop a Successful Mentality and Win. And I'm really looking forward to episode 2. I'm already kind of jumping ahead because it's all about cyber leadership and driving business value. So that's going to be a fascinating episode to tune into. Again, Rich Casanova on behalf of Global Podcast Studios. For all this information about his new book, about the podcast, his YouTube channel, if you want to dial into his ecosystem, it's super easy. And it's an impressive new website. Just go to DewayneHart.com. That's DewayneHart.com. Rich Casanova signing off, and we'll see you on the next episode.
You've been listening to the Chief of Cybersecurity podcast, where we hope you've gained knowledge to improve your cybersecurity mindset. Visit DewayneHart.com to learn more about publications, show notes, and more information on cybersecurity.